Thanks for the invite on the webinar.
Thank you. Yes, and then we have Paul Suvadeep, who's the Senior Director, Revenue Management for Four Seasons Hotels and Resorts, and he heads the Thailand cluster for the brand. Again, bringing a very, very diverse expertise from brands, leading commercial and revenue roles across brands like IG, Wyndham, Best Western, and a lot more. So together, I would say that our panelists here bring in very diverse expertise from many brands, while also we here to gather together to share our learnings and some of the best practices and tips here. Thank you so much, Paul, for joining us today. Last but not the least, we have Sandeep Singh, who's the Senior Vice President, Product Management. He actually heads our business intelligent side of innovation for RateGain. And he also brings in, rich expertise heading the product side and, doing some unique innovations for organizations like Wingify, Salesforce Marketing Cloud, and Exigen Technologies. So thank you for joining, Sandeep here.
Thank you, Kamesh. Hello, everyone.
Yes, so over, I think we'll just start. I won't take much time, and we'll start with our first section for the day. So, of course, we've seen, while as per the Skift Recovery Index, where RateGain actually provides granular insights for the hospitality and travel industry, the latest report actually shows, a 42% of score compared to same time last year. Not only that, it's also seen emergence of some new trends, new forms of data points that have not been prevalent even 6 months back. Does it mean that revenue managers, revenue leaders need to take a step back and revisit to rediscover, so that they can come back stronger, respond faster to recovery with the market changes that are happening now? Flight searches are going up, apparently, which is not as much as last time, but still we see that progression, emergence of domestic travelers. Again, the proof comes from higher searches for car vacation homes and car rentals, including drive businesses here. Does it mean there's an all new trend happening? Does it mean history is history, in terms of where we depended, what we depended on earlier? And what is it that we can look at? I mean, is AI enabled real-time competitive intel the need of the hour, and probably can help the revenue leaders respond faster to recovery? What's your viewpoint on that, Samir?
Thanks, Kamesh. Like you were saying, the hotel industry is sailing right now in uncharted waters. Depending on the markets, we are either looking at demand within the city or within the region. Well, for this part of the world, we are looking at staycations and domestic tourism. The models that we used to operate with are not that good anymore. Today, the data sets have wild swings, even with the smallest change in assumptions. The competitive environment has completely changed. There is excess supply and low demand. Our client base has changed. Traditionally, the reliance on domestic market was small or minimal for most of the hotels. However, that's the only demand coming in these days. Now, to remain on top of these variations, our reliance on the current data is more important than historical. I mean, last 6 months have pretty much changed everything on the way we used to look at data. I mean, gone are the times where we used to forecast based on the last year pickup trends. Now we're looking at the last 2 weeks of trends to forecast for the next 2 weeks. Also, the booking window has changed. With the international demand earlier, our booking window was 3 months, 6 months, sometimes even 18 months long. Now the booking window is in the same week, sometimes a few days out. With all these changes, the need for our tools that can provide us this information becomes more and more important today than ever before.
Absolutely. And does it also mean even the way we used to forecast in hotels was like 365 days out, 6 months out. You mentioned a very important point that last 2 weeks for the next 2 weeks. So is it getting a lot more? Is it shrinking a lot more? What's your opinion, Ram? On that front. I mean, how is it changing? History is changing, of course. It's no longer dependent on history anymore. What more do you feel? You've got a very diverse mix of properties across many destinations, and these are all individual, unique destinations and the properties itself. So, what are you seeing, and what in your viewpoint, uh, is the new data?
Thanks, Kamesh. Thank you so much. Thanks, Kamesh, for your inputs out there. And yes, like you said, Kamesh, at Preferred Hotels, it is a separate mix of hotels that we have. We have a lot of independent hotels and regional chains who are part of the portfolio out there. And what we are actually seeing out here globally when we start looking at it from afar is that, you know what, you just can't even forecast something at a market level, because even at market, different hotels are performing differently depending on where they are located. There have been some hotels in certain markets who have already started showing very healthy pickup over long weekends and holiday periods. Okay, the sentiment that we are seeing, I mean, we actually ran a survey with our I Prefer members who are our loyalty members, and the sentiment out there was very positive. Another recent survey that Virtuoso, which is a luxury travel agent, actually conducted with most of their key travelers, showed that, you know what, the moment restrictions are eased out or it's safe to travel, the luxury travelers will move. I think one definite thing that we have seen across many regions is price is no longer the driving force for a customer to book a hotel. Uh, the top two things that they are looking at is health and safety, more flexibility in policies, because there are times where a consumer is forced to change travel plans at the last minute and they do not want to end up being penalized for it. Price comes into play only when everything else is at an equal scale out there. So that is something that we are seeing out there. One thing for sure, what we are seeing is it is difficult to predict at a pure absolute market level. And more than anything, like Samir was saying, forward-looking and recent data is becoming more and more important than the historical data. There is, I mean, to use the off-using word which everyone is doing, this is indeed unprecedented time. So yes, you will need to start changing the way things are being done.
Interesting, and then I couldn't agree more on that front here, which is also meaning there's a lot more dependency of data for, say, the policies being compared for your competitors, or the flexibility with the inclusion, the value added offerings that each one, because we're all drifting towards a hyper personalized world. Does it mean so what, Ram, just continuing with the same discussion, what would be the ingredients for the most dependable data for you? you know how much and what all would be critical to first understand, to know the market changes and then respond?
Uh, Let me actually tell you some of the data points that
Yeah.
I and the team out here look at, which is external data points. One definite thing that I keep a watch out on is Google Trends. I mean, that kind of gives you a early indicator on what is the consumer behavior trending towards. Like if there is an intent to fly in, I don't know, October, people would ideally start searching for flights to a certain destination sometime in August, right? So the moment you start seeing, I don't know, if you use Maldives as an example, flights to Maldives or flights from India to Bali, people will start searching it somewhere at this point of time. Uh, Another data that I definitely look at, I mean, there's a lot of reliance on external data today. And unfortunate part is we are also relying on multiple sources of data, because there isn't one source which helps sometimes to provide everything. Another source that I personally look at is IATA and Amex GBT, Amex GBT has a travel vital site. IATA as well as the US government regulations, which keep getting updated on a regular basis, which kind of showcases what are the travel information and any pertinent requirements or restrictions that's there in a particular destination. Now, that's a couple of things out there. The third thing I believe that's important right now is market intelligence is going to be extremely important because it's not only important to understand the hotel pays, but also to kind of understand what the forward-looking demand for your immediate competition set is. Because at this time, you cannot be benchmarking your hotel against last year or benchmarking your hotel against budget. So where do you benchmark your performance and how are you trending towards? That will have to be against your competitive set space, right? So forward-looking data becomes very important in this scenario. Data monitoring, all the more important. How easy is it at a top level data so that the key business leaders and the hotel are able to understand, and how much can those data be drilled down by the data analysts in the team becomes important. And I think one critical thing is for all hotels is to go back and review their competition set, because what could have been your competition set in the pre-COVID era might actually no longer be your relevant competitive set. You know, your the travelers' requirements have changed, so all of a sudden you might be competing or positioning yourself against hotels who are no, maybe in a higher set or in a lower set in the previous era out there. So I think that kind of are some of the key points out there, Kamesh, if that makes sense.
Quickly, and I think this is really great. And yeah, you're so right about rethinking on the competitive set, because now even the destinations are competing in a way. So maybe your property in, say, Thailand would be competing with your own brand property, which could be, say, in Vietnam. So that's again a lot more change in the buying behavior, in the motive of the traveler as well. And I couldn't agree more on that. Which kind of leaves another question, and I will probably love to direct that to you, Paul. You've got a very very hyper personalized brand. I mean, Four Seasons, the way we know it, started with one property 50 years back and grew to 100 plus, and each of them are known for their unique personalized experiences. How do you see that, like in your own cluster? How do you see the ingredient changing on how you were tracking data, and how would you advise our revenue leaders here to prepare for that hyper personalized experiences here? Would it mean inclusion of rate plan, or inclusion of some value added, or some micro target segmented inclusion or pricing as well?
Sure. Thanks, Kamesh. So I actually second what Ram mentioned before. What we see here today is we have pretty much the whole demand is wiped out. We are pretty much in a blank sheet of paper. Our past data is of no use, because we are looking at almost a zero-based forecasting ahead. And looking at the current situation, our visibility is, as Samir mentioned before as well, not more than 2 to 3 weeks ahead. For example, Thailand here, the resorts partially opened in June after almost 2 months of 2.5 months of closure. Then we have partial opening happen in July. So typically sitting now in August, we have 1 or 2 months of data. We don't have anything else. At this stage, we are not looking at what we did in Q1 or even 2019. But what we sit today is how we can actually see some elements of future data. What we can see is this next 2 weeks or 30 days, what we want to look at, how much information which we can actually gather from our current RM system, be it the booking trend, be it the pattern in terms of booking window, be it in terms of how the weekday weekend pattern have changed because your customer demographic have changed, now being it's only domestic, how your long holidays in the country is impacting your resort, and how early we are able to actually, the system is able to analyze that, and pushing the pricing, the necessary pricing accordingly, based on that. What we see also is have changed is what your guest wants, right? Before, brands like IHG, brands like Four Seasons, who are so dependent on international customers, international guests, and suddenly that part becoming zero, and we have only domestic to look at. How we can actually, personalize our pricing, personalize our offering.
Business, MICE. These were the traditional segments that were, and FIT, of course. But I think within all these segments, we've also seen emergence of sub-segments. So a business traveler could be also now starting with leisure, and probably he's well connected anyways when he's traveling with his family. So that's leisure with a staycation intention. It's all getting kind of mingled up, and also creating or giving way to new hyper segments, or probably I would say micro traveler personas within each segment. How are you able to kind of bring all that data, like the top 3 or top 5 ingredients on the new data, into your pricing? Any initiatives or anything you would like to highlight that, Paul?
Sure. Yes, absolutely. I see, looking at the current situation, we can pretty much see at the short term, MICE and corporate as a segment is pretty much going to zero. We have most of the MICE demand has gone away. People are not really traveling overseas for MICE. At this stage, leisure segment is pretty much the only driver what it is now, be it domestic and eventually regional, but leisure segment is the one which is going to come back, or coming back first before any other segment. Now, as you really rightly say, how we actually break down leisure segment, wellness, for example, this is really a key word post-COVID, and while we were in the lockdown, wellness segment is an important aspect which we think every hotel brand is looking towards, and specifically Four Seasons, we have a specific wellness team who are looking at how we can identify, create elements which want to be useful or cater to the demand of this specific niche segment. Now, the packaging, of course, this is a very unique packaging which goes in. It is not just another spa inclusion, but how it actually elevates the whole experience of the guest who is looking at coming to your resort and coming for a 2-day, 4-day, 7-day, 10 days wellness a journey or experience, and how how we can actually give what is required in terms of the package elements, how the pricing is done in combination of those package elements, be it the wellness consultation, be it having a nutritionist. So what are the elements which can be added in terms of the segment? Another aspect is how you distribute this, because it's not only you just put up the package, but how you distribute this, because as you can see, our traditional distribution channels doesn't really cater to this kind of niche segments. How we can actually distribute this specific packaging. So probably in your in your brand site, having a microsite which actually opens up to that world of wellness through a straight booking flow would help in that aspect as well, because end of the day, you gotta keep the customers the ease of booking as well, and how you actually catering to that. Another aspect, what I think is, which we are seeing as well, is multi-generation travel. We are seeing bigger families traveling together because they have been stuck at home for a while. They are going out, they are coming out. The grandfather is coming out with a grandson or granddaughter and with a bigger family, and which also is elevating the requirement of bigger rooms or bigger spaces. Be it 2, 3, or 4 bedroom villas, or 2, 3 rooms combined together. How, in terms of packaging, or use of component room functions, how you're combining rooms to actually catering to those bigger families. So I think it is important that we look at specific ways on targeting bigger families, specific ways in targeting wellness segment, for example, through our distribution channels, through our pricing, packaging, in a way that we are giving to them what they want. Because end of the day, it is really changed what previously you had a lot more demand, a lot more demographics to play with, but here right now you have only one. So how you actually cater to them. And now what I think also that we should think this not only as a short-term strategy, but I think should be looked at as a long-term strategy as well, because traditionally your domestic market or wellness market probably is 2-3% of your total segment. But I think eventually you have the opportunity ahead to put strategies right now so that this percentage increases to probably 7, 8, or 10%.
And how long term would you think, Paul? Like, should the new long term be in terms of looking ahead? I mean, that's changed again. I think gone are the days where we could forecast for 2 years, 3 years. I think long now gets to 3 months or 6 months. So what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, because really funny. We are sitting in August right now, and when we were in April, and our results were the country was kind of closing down, and we were telling ourselves that, okay, you know what, 3 months we're going to be back to office, and we're going to be back to normal again. And today, 6 months later, in August, we are still sitting in the same situation. We don't have any visibility, and really, we are talking about short term is within month on month, and long term, we don't even know what October, for example, is going to turn out to be. How are we working on budget for next year when we don't even know that how October or 2 months down the line is turn out to be? So I think long term for me is already looking at what we are looking at for this year, and of course short term is now. We are not. I think we are not in a situation to even talk about. Yes, we can of course forecast in a way. We can think that yes, there are multiple data right now where we can know that what's coming in 2021, but really nobody can tell what's coming in 2021.
And even the travelers are changing. I mean, they're blending actually. So no longer the millennials or zennials actually came out of Gen X and millennials. Within that, there are sub-segments. So there's a lot more personalization, hyper personalization we are drifting towards. And thank you so much, Paul. And to that point, Samir, Chaitrium is actually known for the unique luxury experiences. I mean, you've got beautiful properties in Thailand, Myanmar, and congratulations on the new one that's opened up in Japan. So what's your take on the new, the pricing and the segmentation in terms of the in the hyper personalized world here?
So like Paul rightly said, the segmentation has disintegrated now. Earlier we had major segments, corporate, retail, and so on. Now in each one of them, it's smaller segments, and that's where the demand lies. So if you were to look at retail, it's further bifurcated into staycation, wellness, relaxation,